Hey everybody, this is Alejandro with La Lucha. Here's John and Mark, and we have a very special guest with us today. A very good friend of ours and a mentor and somebody that we really look up to. John's going to introduce him actually. Who is it, John?
We are so excited to have the incredible drummer and vibraphonist Chuck Red with us tonight, talking about the new record and our history with him. Chuck has literally played all over the world with so many great musicians like Dizzy, Mil Torme, Tommy Flanagan, Ray Brown, Monty Alexander, and so many more. We could spend the rest of this time just listing them. It is such an incredible honor and a pleasure to be your friend and to spend this time with you. Thank you so much for being here. Do you remember, Chuck, the first time that you met Mark Feynman?
Well, actually, I believe that I first met Mark. It was either at the Palladium on stage when you guys were accompanying a singer, I believe, or at a club in St. Pete when I went over there after a gig that I played at the Palladium. And I sat in and you were playing over there. Is that where we met, Mark?
That's where we officially met because you used my drum set that night.
Right.
I lent you a drum set and then you came to the jam session afterwards. Right. And that was with, I think that may have been a statesperson of jazz concert.
Right.
Statesman of Jazz put on by Arbur's Records, I believe.
Yep.
Nikki was on the gig.
Nikki Parada.
And Ehud Asheri was playing piano.
That's right. Yeah.
And you came in and we looked at each other and we knew who you all were. It was like, start playing our shit. Start playing good. Play good, guys.
Don't
you
get
all
lost.
came in and you played No More Blues. And that night, we learned No More Blues.
Well, I just remember you sounding really good the first time I heard you, and the trio sounded excellent. And I just knew right away that this was, La Lucha was something very special because there was a certain spark and rapport that you guys had with each other. I felt that this group is definitely going places, and you guys have proven it. You're doing everything in Florida, and now you're branching out, and this recording is so exciting.
Oh, thank you so much.
Thank you, Chuck.
I remember you did come back to Florida and you were playing a concert at the Palladium. It was the opening season and it was on the big stage upstairs, and they had asked La Lucha to open for the group that you were playing with. And again, we were like, okay, we have got to get our act together. We've got to put together a really good set. We're playing a lot, but we were like really new to playing a lot of concerts on stages. And you came out, I think, and stood on the side of the stage during the sound check. And it was like, play good. Chuck Red is watching us, I felt like even though we always play for the audience, it was like, Chuck is in the room and we are playing to Chuck right now. Because, we knew you, we knew your sound, you had a lot of influence on, and for me as a drummer and a fake vibraphonist, I always looked up to you as a musician. I think when we got to know you on that concert, we really looked up to you as a human as well, because we learned how awesome
Thank you very much. I think, Mark, you and I really hit it off right away. We had so much in common about our tastes and about, I think we have a similar level of enthusiasm. We both really love music. We love drums. I still feel like, I know people watching this won't be able to necessarily tell I'm a little older than you. But I still feel like a student. I still have a great enthusiasm for learning and for growing as a musician. And so it inspires me to be around people like you who are, you're still in your young years, and it's so exciting. And when I met you, you were very young, and it's great. I think and then I've learned a lot from you since then. And I'm always inspired to play with you guys. I mean it. I mean that.
Thank you, Chuck.
Thank you. That's really kind. When I met you, I decided I was going to grow a beard years ago, and I've not shaven since.
Well, And let's hope in September we'll really be able to see it. I'm not sure.
I'm hoping by my bar mitzvah it'll be nice and full.
That's the other thing. You've always been focused on the important goals, you know?
Yes. So since that concert, there were some opportunities for us to play together. One of them was a gig that Alejandro and I did with you, which was kind of in middle of Florida,
right,
somewhere. And
oh yeah,
it was with an Italian pianist. Who had just flown in.
Yes.
Okay, yes.
Yeah.
And I remember that I was like, I don't think I'm gonna know any of the songs we're gonna play. And Al was like, you're gonna be fine. And you were like, you're gonna be fine. And there was one specific song that has haunted me to this day, and that is Airmail Special.
Yeah.
Specifically because the head out is kind of the shout chorus, not the head in chorus. I didn't know this.
Right.
Nobody told me except that I should have listened to the recordings more. And so shout chorus happened, and I said, oh, shout chorus, this must lead to a drum solo. So I started the solo at the end of the tune.
Mm-hmm.
And you were so kind. You were like just trying to cue. I thought you were cueing more hits or something like that, but you were cueing an ending.
Yeah.
And it got to a point where I was diving in. I was in it with like my eyes closed.
Yeah.
And I looked up and you were just standing there and you just nicely whispered, it's over.
Well, honestly, I don't remember that happening, but
oh gosh.
I think it was the last song of the concert too, by the way. I remember this vividly. I remember I had like the perfect view from.
Well, okay. To put this in a different light, I worked a few times with Mose Allison, the great Mose Allison, you know, player and singer, composer. And he was kind of an eccentric blues guy. He had a different take on everything. And often he would end a song with a drum solo like that. He would, there would be a bass solo after the piano solo, and he had already sung a chorus, and you would, in conventional routines, you would think that he would go back to a vocal chorus, but he would point to the drummer would play, and then play some more. Okay, now end it.
Yeah.
It would end with a drum solo, which has always struck me as strange, but I just thought maybe Mark is a big Mose Allison fan.
That's exactly what it was.
As musicians, we're usually like, especially in jazz, like it's about the individual as a musician, but La Lucha's kind of always been about the three of us. So when this happened, I was like, guys, I ruined it for us. Like, we'll never play in this town again. Chuck won't call us. I messed this thing up, and I sounded terrible. I was in the whole like I suck phase before I realized that you just whatever, Yeah.
However, let's back up just a moment. For the record, I never did play that town again, and neither. But anyway,
you have us, yeah.
Actually, that town no longer exists.
No, it does, because I stopped there for gas a couple of years ago. And I told the attendant, I said, I was here a few years back. He said, really? What year were you here? I said, I can't remember. He said, well, let me get a read on this. Was it before or after the Airmail Special incident? So that's all they really talk about there anymore. So congratulations.
Yeah.
No, I remember that concert as being just fine, and the crowd was nice, and everything was cool, and you always sound good, and you've sounded better and better, and now you sound great, and you all sound great. So I wouldn't worry about that. We've all had our moments.
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah,
I could tell you a few.
Well, we when we play with you, there is always such like a everything from the style. You've taught us how to approach the stage and how to act on stage and off stage, how to dress, how to not show up to the airport in pajamas, and
right.
And just with poise and elegance, like you really
Yes.
are a mentor to us, not
Wow.
only musically, but all around on how to jazz.
Well,
So let
And
me-
so when we started playing these La Lucha meet Chuck Red meet La Lucha concerts, that was a really big learning experience for us, and that was huge for us as a trio.
That's
yeah, but
really
it's been
well. It's inspiring. It's been very inspiring for me because when we booked our first La Lucha meets Chuck or whatever, I I wanted to play a couple of your arrangements, as you remember, and because I love your arrangements. You guys, Alejandro, you did Lullaby the Leaves and Lullaby of Berlin, right? That's your arrangement,
It's his
or is it kind of a collaborative
Yeah.
effort?
yeah, it's kind of
So-
it evolved. It was actually
Yeah.
supposed to be it
Started as
was
a swing tune, believe it or not.
It started as a swing tune. Wow.
yeah,
It's
the
so
way
perfect.
the way I originally kind of conceived it was actually a drum feature, a fast brush drum feature.
Wow.
And it eventually it was kind of the same phrasing of the melody and all that stuff, but it eventually kind of came, that's one thing that we always like to do. We always like to take these arrangements once we know them well. We like to
Yeah.
toy with them and change them in different ways. And then eventually kind of came to that point, which was a really cool thing for us to do. I think this is a good segue into the record.
Yeah.
So we finally got a chance to record this with you after playing it a few times live. We went back to rehearsals before it, and we're like, okay, we need to tighten things up because, when you play them, you breathe as a band together, but then we were also getting into some bad habits together. So we were like, okay, we need to keep this thing under control and all that. But I remember, it being in the studio in New York in December and just, having you there present, was a huge thing for us, because
That's great.
you really bring, we always call you our older brother or big brother.
Good.
We'll take
Nice.
older out of there. Our big brother, because like Mark mentioned, you've been such a mentor to us, but you've also given us a lot of self-assurance, a lot of you've taught us to feel proud about what we do and really approach it with self-confidence and that's huge to us because every time I play next to you and I think like, oh, Chuck at some point was standing next to Ray Brown. Holy crap. That's
well, to echo what Mark was saying, or to tie this whole thing in, about it's so nice what you were saying about me setting an example or teaching you guys how to comport yourself on stage or traveling and all that. But I learned from the best too. These guys that I was lucky enough to be with, they really taught me by example and not preaching, most of the time, just by observing these kind of people that I was lucky enough to work with. Barney Kessel, Charlie Bird, Herb Ellis, Monty Alexander, Tommy Flanagan, just to have spent some very precious time with these people. The lessons that I learned from them will always be with me. And those things are so important. And then you guys, back to just to talk about what you're talking about with your arrangements and everything. I've always felt, I think all musicians feel this way, that the power, the artistic power, and the nuance that you can get having a band that's together, like a little family, is magical. Things start happening when you play together for a matter of even weeks, and then months. It takes on a different level of nuance and depth. And when you get into years, then it's like nothing that has ever happened in the universe in its own way. And it doesn't have to be it doesn't have to be some iconic band with 3 huge name people. There's still something extremely special that happens when a band's been together. Even if it's a band that plays in a lounge, but they've been together forever, they're going to have certain things that are going to be unlike anything else. Some of them are great habits. Some of them are not great habits. Like you talk, we all get into bad habits.
Yeah.
Every band, I remember, one of the greatest, most swinging bands in the universe is the Count Basie Orchestra. And I remember seeing them toward the end of a tour once. and they played Neil Hefti's classic "Little Darlin',"
Mm.
which is that's always the tune that gives everyone a chance to just breathe and feel relaxed, and it's really the quintessential Count Basie band ballad.
Yeah.
And they played that tune that night at the end of this tour, and it sounded like this: ba 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 da. That's the tempo, and it should be about almost half the tempo.
Yeah.
And you could just tell they just played it a little faster each night, and it still sounded fantastic because it was the Basie band and Count Basie there, But these things happen, and but magical things happen as well. And I hear that with you guys, and I hear you know each other so well, and you're, like Mark said a little while ago, it's all about the band, and it's all about serving the whole, and the music is bigger than any individual. So I try to approach it like that when I'm with you guys as well. It's not about me coming in and being a star. I want to crawl into your artistic vision a little bit, and you certainly reach out to mine. It's beautiful. You learn my music, so thank you.
Yes, I also want to mention that Chuck has a great album out called Groove City, and we had an awesome chance to be able to play several tunes from there with you, and that led to a couple of concerts that we did that ended up helping us link up with Rachel and from Arbor's Records, which allowed us to do this record. So you guys want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, I remember we were doing the concert, and Rachel was there. She's really supportive of the music community and all around, and she lives in St. Petersburg and St. Pete Beach. And of course, Chuck's in town, so she's going to be there. And I think, Chuck, you were talking or hanging out with her on the break, and while we were playing the first tune, I don't remember if we started the second set with a La Lucha tune or if we did something where the trio was playing for a little bit, but you came up and whispered in my ear on stage. I mean, I was playing, I'm in it, and you come up to whisper, and you said, "Think I got you guys a record deal." What? I'm sorry? And so we said, okay, we're just trying to be cool about it, and I said, okay, well, cool. Rachel is interested, and we went over and talked with her, and she said, yeah, we should connect. Let's be in touch. And we said, okay, cool. Maybe we'll be in touch in a few weeks, and maybe a couple of months we'll figure something out. And it was within 24 hours, she was like, yes, let's do this thing. Let's put it together.
Yeah.
And it, she was moving very quickly. And so as it progressed and we figured out what this is going to be, what the deal was going to be, when this thing would be coming out, there was no doubt that Chuck Red is the first name and first person that we're going to have involved in this, have on this, be featured on this. And we wanted to make sure that the songs that you were playing, it was really representing stuff that we have already done and a repertoire that we've played.
Yeah.
Right.
But we also threw some curveballs at you as well, some new things, and you freaking hit them out of the park. And I like to use baseball references because you and I have a special relationship of playing catch at 12:30 a.m. in the streets outside the mainstay.
Yes, one of my favorite Chuck moments ever.
Yeah, that was that.
Right in the middle of Main Street, we stood there in the middle of Main Street, just throwing caution to the wind and a baseball to each other.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Alejo was sleeping behind a dumpster or something. I don't know.
Yeah,
I think I was packing all the stuff you guys left on the stage.
I think so. Yeah, I just said, just get the vibes.
You just get the vibes. Yeah.
Yeah. No, but it really was like leading up to the sessions. It didn't feel real, and it was like, okay, we're gonna do these tunes. Let's share these tunes.
Yeah.
And then and then we get to New York. Okay, it doesn't feel real yet. Okay, we got to the rehearsal studio. Everybody's there. Cool. There's water and everybody has music. It didn't feel real yet. and then you walked into the studio looking freaking dapper as ever on a snowy day in New York, and it was like, oh, this is real now.
This is real.
And it, again, like as Alejandro said, you made us feel so comfortable, and the La Lucha party was continuing there, and it didn't feel sterile as sometimes it does.
Not
in the
at
studio.
all. No.
It was just fun.
It was
just fun.
And I might add something. I think, if I'm not mistaken, the last thing that I played was the Blues for Houston Person.
Mm-hmm.
That's yours, right, Alejandro?
It actually Mark got it started, and we, the three of us, just kind of fine tuned it. But Mark's the one that started the tune. And
let me just pause. Like, this kind of work together and this kind of lack of ego is really the beauty of your group, because you guys really, with all jokes aside, you know, you work together so beautifully to serve the music, and this tune, that song, Blues for Houston, is a great example of it. Blues for Houston Person.
Yeah.
And that's a really straight down the middle, nice minor grooving blues. And man, I just remember it was like in the morning, right? Wasn't it that a morning session when we did that one?
Yeah,
like,
it was the first tune.
Yeah, first tune of the day. And first of all, you guys were grooving. Mark, you were right in the pocket, sounded and felt great right away. And you were excited. I looked over, I could tell how thrilled you were. You were just like, wow, this is the real thing, you know? But the thing is that the catalyst for all of us that morning was Houston Person. He was so on that day, and he sounds so incredible on it, you know? Just wailing, just beautiful, eating it up. And he was just planted there, you know, he was sitting on a stool, and he was happy and feeling great. And,
that was an incredible experience, because he when he walked in, you know, the whole room just lit up, you know. I mean, we already had a good vibe going on, and he walked in and he just fit right in there. And just, you know, when you know he asked, we hadn't really played the tune with him prior to the session, so it was, you know, we worked a couple of things, and I remember he suggested doing the ending, you know, just vamping at the end, so you could just stretch and going into that, and then, you know, just seeing him smile and, you know, just having fun in the session was just
the tune is fun to play. And, you know, he's playing around the melody. You're taking you and John are kind of splitting the core of the melody. But you know, for me, like that ending of the tune, that vamp, I like listen to the song just to get to the vamp at the end, because the whole history of Houston Person is in that vamp at the end. And I think I remember you saying, like, I think you got real Houstonisms on this record. Like, you got the best of Houston. And, you know, I will say that you have Houston featured on your album, The Common Thread, which is an Arborist release from 2011, I think. Yeah. And it's a fantastic band in general. Houston's on that. And you yourself were featured on Houston's album, Nice and Easy. As well. So you have a beautiful recording history with Houston, in addition to playing probably countless times with him as well.
Yeah, I do. He's such a good friend and a great person. We always have a wonderful time together. He's another guy. He's a generation older than me, but he's got this young spirit. And Roy Haynes was asked about when he's got someone on his band who's young enough to be his grandson. An interviewer said, "Do you think of, like, you know, you're the grand old man, you're the mentor to everybody, you're overseeing all these youngsters, or, you know, what's it like?" He said, "No, we're one age." Just those two words, one age. Yeah. And that's how it feels, really, you know, when you're with another musician, where you find when you find some common artistic ground, and it's just beautiful. And Houston, I feel like that with Houston. I don't feel like I'm playing with an older guy, because he's got that great spirit and that swing that I've always been chasing after my whole life. And he recognized some of that in me. And so it's a beautiful thing, you know, this whole continuum that we're all part of. It's beautiful.
And to us, it's really an incredible experience to be able to be connected through the generations that way, because, we were born past the, so to speak, golden age of jazz, if you will, where a lot of our heroes, we never got to see live, because a lot of them had passed and all of that, and then some of our heroes, and it's really amazing, through your stories, through your experiences, and from Houston's perspective, your perspective, Ken's perspective, and all of that. It's really a wonderful way to absorb that, to really understand what those people were like from a real world perspective, and beyond just the idealization of or jazz or music heroes, but you seeing like, they were working musicians as well. They had to go through hard times as well.
Right.
They had to work really hard to get to where they did. So it
Absolutely.
really brings the reality of that to us.
I think about
way.
this. Often musicians, are notorious for complaining about things. We all have because things are. Things are never. It's rare that everything lines up perfectly, and everything is right, and the sound is right, and the food is good, and you're not tired, and and your chops are good, and it's rare, really. And when everything does happen like that, those are the times we all live for, and all the other times where not everything is perfect, that's where our professionalism comes in. That's where we have to bring it anyway. As much as we worry about things, about whether the instrument is not right, or whether certain details are not right around the gig, I think, okay, many of our heroes, and certainly my heroes that I grew up listening to, like I think about, say, Milt Jackson or Max Roach or whoever. Can you imagine being an African American musician in the 50s traveling around the country? I mean,
talking about less than ideal.
And the thing is, they're famous, they're making records, they're making history, they're making high art. They're some of the smartest people on the planet, and they have to live, in that environment, not to mention the whole other thing, but the whole scene now. But I think, that was tough. That was really tough, talking about not ideal situations, So we being born, I feel like I was born too late too in a way, but at the same time, we have the advantage of this history that's still unfolding, and it's a beautiful thing, so.
Yeah, we have these giants to stand on their shoulders, and
we stand on their shoulders.
And I think it was something that you mentioned that is very important, to be able to understand that history. Understand where they came from and what inspired them to do that. And exactly what you said. I mean, from all, we had a conversation recently about, as musicians, especially La Lucha, we're from 3 different parts of the world, and we everything we do is informed by the stuff that by our lives, our life experiences.
Sure.
And that's another thing that is really important, to be able to have that, to be able to understand each other musically and personally, putting some of those differences aside, and cultural differences and all that stuff, bring them, or not differences, but make them something that unifies us,
right.
Taking that into something bigger than.
Well, even in a small way, for me, when I played with you guys for the first time, before we did the Groove City stuff, and I just played some of your arrangements. I don't play arrangements like that, and like I played "Have You Met Miss Jones?" And I learned your arrangement of that, and you changed time signatures a maddening 47 times in that song or something. I don't know. And no, but it's like it would have never occurred to me to play an arrangement like that. I don't play with the circles I move in generally. So it was a great stretch for me, and I love doing things like that, because I remember I talking to Barney Kessel about this, and he would say, good music is good music, and it might be a bebop tune, and you might like a lot of bebop songs. It might be a swing era tune like Airmail Special, not to bring that up again, Mark. And and then it might be a funk tune, it might be a James Brown tune, or Earth, Wind and Fire tune, or something that you hear something on the radio that's done by Beyonce, and it's good. Good is good, you know. And if it resonates with you, you should never put yourself in an artistic box, you know. And you guys don't, and I love that. Like you're talking about all of your influences, it's beautiful.
Thank you, Chuck.
Yeah, I know we're all in a box right now.
It was really awesome getting to talk with you. It's always wonderful to see you. And, you know, I really wish we could all be together playing any kind of music, but this is wonderful enough.
Yeah, absolutely.
I
and
want
I wish you the very best with this recording. It's going to be such a big success, and it's out there now. It's exciting. It's great. And as you said, La Lucha has become a big family now, you know, and I'm thrilled to be part of that family.
Absolutely.
Thank
you,
you.
Chuck. We're
very,
we feel honored that you are part of that family. Absolutely.
Thank you. I'm on.
Well, I want to just let everybody know that the record is out, and you can find it anywhere music is sold. You can find us at arborsrecords.com. You can check it out through our website. And all digital music platforms have it streaming. So check out the record, check out the tunes that Chuck is on, buy a copy for yourself and your friend and your mom's friend. So,
buy Chuck's records too while you're at it.
Yeah, seriously, buy Chuck's records.
He has an incredible collection of wonderful, wonderful, delicious.
Thank you. Thank you
so much.
And I think I read just this morning in the New York Times, this recording, La Lucha's new recording, is the very best music to help get people through a pandemic. Just coincidentally, scientifically.
That's what they found out.
Yeah, they found it. They just did a study, and this will get you through a quarantine better than any music.
It'll certainly get you out of the house screaming.
Great to see you guys.
Thank you,
Mark.
Chuck.
Hi, Chuck. Good to see you.
Would you do a drum solo out to finish the Zoom meeting, Mark?
You got some drums? All right.